Your heart rate spikes before you've read the message, not after. Before you see a name on your screen, "We need to talk," and your chest tightens before your eyes finish the sentence. No danger has happened yet. No verdict has been delivered. Decided something is wrong. This happens dozens of times a day, in places that have nothing to do with danger. A pause receipt with no reply. A read receipt with no reply. The sound of footsteps behind you that speed up to match your pace. None of these are threats in any way your conscious mind would defend if asked. But somewhere underneath thought, a switch has already been flipped. It's the same thing in a parking garage at night, when you pick up your pace for no reason you could explain to anyone. It's the same thing when a stranger walks past without smiling, and some small part of you quietly files it as rejection. It's the same thing when you open the news for 10 seconds and your shoulders rise toward your ears before you've read a single headline. So here's the question worth sitting with. Nothing dangerous is actually happening. Why does your body keep acting like it is? Most people assume stress is a reaction to circumstances, a hard day, a difficult conversation, a deadline. But that explanation falls apart the moment you notice how often the alarm goes off with no circumstance attached at all. A notification sound makes your stomach drop before you even check your phone. You walk into a quiet room and instantly sense something is off before anyone has said a word. You replay an ordinary sentence from earlier in the day, searching it for a hidden meaning that was probably never there. This is not overthinking. This is a system working exactly as it was built to work, just aimed at the wrong century. Underneath your conscious mind sits a structure that has one job: detect danger faster than you can think about it. It doesn't wait for proof. It doesn't wait for context. It scans for a small number of signals: suddenness, ambiguity, social rejection, loss of control, and the instant it finds one, it fires first and explains itself later. By the time your thinking brain catches up, your body has already moved. That's the part most people never learn, and it changes everything that follows. This system is not designed to assess accurately. It's designed to react quickly. Speed was always more valuable to it than truth, which raises a stranger problem. If this detector can't tell the difference between an actual threat and an ambiguous one, what exactly is it using to decide what counts as dangerous in your life? Specifically, the answer is unsettling once you see it. It's not using logic. It's using precedent. Every time something in the past felt unsafe, a sudden silence, a tone of disapproval, an unanswered text that meant something the last time it happened, your nervous system filed that pattern away, not as a memory you can recall, but as a felt sense you can't argue with. The next time something with a similar shape appears, even in a completely different context, the same alarm fires. Not because the present moment is dangerous, because it resembles a moment that once was. This is where the first real shift happens. The fear you feel right now is rarely about right now. It's a prediction, built from old data, applied to a new situation that hasn't actually been evaluated yet. Think of the unanswered text again. Logically, a delayed reply means almost nothing. People get busy, phones run out of battery, messages get buried under a dozen others. But your nervous system isn't running that logic. It's matching the shape of "I sent something and heard nothing back" against every other time silence likes preceded bad news, and it's reacting to the worst version on file, not the most likely one. And here's where it gets more complicated. Because this detection system doesn't operate on a fixed setting. It recalibrates. Every false alarm that goes unchallenged. Every time you flinch and nothing happens, but you never consciously register that nothing happened, lowers the threshold slightly for next time. The system doesn't learn that wasn't dangerous. It learns better safe than slow. Each unresolved scare doesn't cancel itself out. It quietly lowers the bar for what counts as a threat tomorrow. So if you've ever wondered why you seem to startle more easily than you used to, why ordinary moments at work or at home now register as faintly threatening when they never used to, this is why. It's not that the world became more dangerous. It's that your alarm system has been tuned, alert by unresolved alert, into a more sensitive instrument than it was a year ago. Picture someone who once had a manager with a sharp, clipped way of speaking. Nothing physically happened in those meetings. No real consequence ever landed. But the tone alone was enough to register as a small threat, over and over, without ever being corrected. Years later, that same person flinches at a completely different boss, a completely different tone, and a completely different job, not because this new voice is dangerous, but because the old, uncorrected pattern is still running underneath, treating clipped tone as a category to brace against. The system isn't reacting to the present manager. It's reacting to a folder of old, unresolved data that the present moment accidentally opened. But there's a deeper layer underneath even that, and this is the part almost no one notices about their own stress. Most threats your ancestors faced had an ending. A predator either caught up or it didn't. The danger resolved one way or another, within minutes, and the body, sensing the resolution, stood back down. The alarm had a beginning and an end. Your alarms rarely get that ending. The message stays unanswered. The tone of your manager's voice is never explained. The ache of, did I say the wrong thing in that meeting? Your body braced for something, and the something never formally concluded. No predator ran off into the trees. No chase ended. The alert simply hangs there unresolved, waiting for a signal that modern life almost never delivers. The official all clear. This is the discovery the whole video has been circling. Chronic stress is not usually a sign that your life is full of danger. It's a sign that your nervous system is sitting on a long backlog of alarms that were never formally closed. Not because the danger continued, but because nothing ever told your body clearly enough. Think about how rarely you get that clean resolution in a day. A tense exchange ends with both people simply moving on, not with either person saying we're okay now. An anxious email gets answered 3 days later with one flat sentence, and you never quite metabolize the gap in between. A wave of dread before a phone call dissolves the moment the call goes fine, but your body was never told to relax. It just got reabsorbed into the next thing. Still half-armed. Multiply that by every day, for years, and you get something that looks a lot like I feel stressed for no reason, but is actually closer to I am carrying hundreds of alerts that were never given a closing signal. Notice when this backlog tends to surface the most. Not during the busy hours, when tasks and conversations keep the mind occupied. It surfaces at night, the moment the distractions disappear and the body finally has silence resurfaces. That's when the unanswered text resurfaces. That's when the sharp tone from a conversation 3 days ago suddenly replays, uninvited, with a clarity it never had during the day. It isn't that nighttime creates new worry. It's that nighttime is simply the first quiet moment. The backlog has had all day to make itself heard, and that reframes the entire feeling of being unsafe in your own life. It is measurement of present danger. It's a queue of incomplete alarms, still technically open, quietly running in the background of every ordinary moment, which is exactly why an empty room can feel charged, why a neutral sentence can feel loaded, why rest itself can feel difficult to locate, even when nothing is currently wrong. Your body isn't malfunctioning. It's still waiting for confirmation that it can stand down. Confirmation that almost never arrives in a world built on ambiguity, delayed replies, and conversations that simply trail off instead of resolving, which leaves one quiet, useful question to carry into tonight. The next time your chest tightens before you understand why, before your mind has even finished forming a thought, don't. Ask what's wrong right now. Ask what alarm, from some earlier moment, never actually got told it was over, because the threat your body is responding to might not be in front of you at all. It might just be unfinished, and somewhere, quietly, it's still waiting for the all clear that never came.